Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome to this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice, and my correspondents.
Michelle Richards.
And the newbie. It's her first time in the studio today, so we're so happy for. Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Shemaine Cruz. I am in charge of special projects here at IBNX Radio.
Okay, we have an association that's coming, so
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there because she's in charge of it. So you're no longer in charge of special projects. You're in charge of what is it?
It's AICMP, the Association of Industry
Why you looking at me like I'm
Creatives
supposed
and
to know?
Media
Why you looking at me like I'm supposed to
Professionals.
know? All right, do it again. It's the what?
AICMP, the Association of Industry Creatives and Media Professionals.
Okay, and what is our design for that? This is your
And
first run. So what?
We are just trying to connect creatives in the industry with professionals, just create a community to help each other out.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Yep.
I mean,
It is.
Look, this
It's
is your
right.
job, so you tell me. This is your job.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us, you go to school at.
Yeah, I actually just graduated in May from Appalachian State University. Yeah, I got my degree in journalism, and now I am just interning here to get more experience.
And if things go well and she runs this organization the way it's supposed to be ran, she will be getting a nice check. We
Yeah.
both will be getting money. Yay! We love money. All right, so we have a special correspondent today. He was on the show on Friday, and I kind of liked him. He's okay. So I figured, why not have a special correspondent today? So I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Vigilante, CEO and founder of Vigilante Vision, artist and actor, card line owner, professional brand ambassador, and social media influencer.
I just tell him he's a new age rapper because, you can't just do music anymore. You have to do all these other avenues by which to get yourself out there, which I will give him. He has branded down to the science, so it's fine. All right, in the studio today, we have two very special guests.
Yeah, my name's Alan Bittiscombe. I am a marketing strategist at Quickly Media.
Say your last name again, because I looked at this and I was like, I am not even going to try this. I'm going to wait till he gets here, and I'm going to have him pronounce it. So I pronounce it again.
It's Bittiscombe. It's actually British.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
then that makes sense. All right. And our other special guest.
Daniel Acosta, I'm CEO and founder of Quickly Media.
All right, so Alan works for Daniel, correct?
Correct.
So I didn't know Daniel was coming today. But I'm happy he's here, because now I can really talk trash to Alan in front of him, and we can just have a field day with it. All right, so today we are going to do current events. So there is a lot going on or happened over the weekend, and just a lot going on in general. So let's jump right into it. All right, so my first thing is, and apparently this seems to be the week for people demanding more money on their jobs. So yeah, so apparently Disney World, which I'd heard this, but I didn't know how true it was. I'd heard that Disney World does not pay that well to their employees, and yeah, they just don't pay well. But Disney still has to deal with unions, and actually, let me ask this. Okay, so you two, actually you three, because y'all are all around the same age. Michelle, how old are you? No, you're not. Shemaine, how old are you?
22.
Vigilante, how old are you?
23.
How old are you two?
26.
25.
Okay, so this is directed to you two. Do y'all know what a union is?
A union, well, yes, but go ahead.
I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, well, you have to try. I do this to see how much people know before I actually explain.
So
So give me an idea. Tell me what you think.
my idea of what a union would be was like a group of people who form together for the same similar goal in mind, or for a specific cause. That'd be like a union.
Like worker rights, equal pay, stuff like that.
Okay, Michelle, what's your thoughts?
So, in my experience, a union is an organization put together usually in the northern parts of the United States. I want to say the northeastern seaboard, where workers, primarily in certain industries, especially construction, would have an organization that would back them. that would fight for them in terms of equal pay, in terms of benefits that they would have. And unions are incredibly strong. It's why a lot of big corporations will vie against them, because they protect their workers and make sure their workers are taken care of. But in turn, that means that in a profit-hungry world that we live in, corporations aren't making as much money. So primarily, you won't get a lot of unions, I believe, at least in the South. In the Southern United States, it's more so, in my experience, in Northern United States and industries of that nature. But they're really helpful in making sure not only the workers are taken care of, but workers' families are taken care of.
Gentlemen, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna ditto off that answer. That's
Okay, you only get like 2 of those throughout the whole show. You just use
Just
one.
use my first one?
You just
Alright.
use your first one. Daniel, thoughts?
Union is a great thing. It's going to protect employers. It's going to protect employees. And, you know, if there's an institution or a company that is overtaking their power, the union is there to be the superhero and stop them from being cruel to their employees. So it's a great thing, and it needs to stick together to make it work.
Okay, that's the gist of it. So, Michelle, you kind of hit the gist of it. So, in the old days, you had unions because they wanted to make sure that people were paid appropriately. They wanted to make sure they had their, back then, pensions and all that good stuff to make sure all that was applicable to all their employees. Like you said, as business got bigger and bottom lines got smaller, unions kind of did away. And then people kind of felt like, okay, well, I don't really need you. I can negotiate on my own. Because they handled all your negotiations. So they would get 10 to 15 employees of a company, usually bigger companies. They would sit down at the table, come up with their demands. They would present those demands to the employers and say, this is what we're asking for collectively, so this is what we're expecting you to do. They would sit at the negotiations table, and the employees never really had to deal with it. It was all the representatives of their union. Like I said, now you fast forward a number of years, about 20, 30 years, you don't really see unions that much, but apparently Disney still has a rival one, so I'm actually happy that this happened. So here's the facts. Disney has officially reached a deal with the unions to increase the minimum wage for all Disney World resort workers to $15 an hour by 2021. All right, so let's keep in mind that does not happen tomorrow. This is another, what? We're in 2018? So this is another, what, 5, 6 years before this even kicks in? It's a start. This signals the end to a contract negotiation that has dragged on for nearly a year. This is a roughly 50% wage increase that also promises 1,000 bonuses once a year. The agreement was reached late Friday night and will be officially voted on by union members on September 5th with an expecting passing. Disney said in a statement that the deal contains the largest proposal ever offered by Walt Disney World Resort with significant pay raises. The deal also pays workers an additional 50 cents for every hour worked since September of 2017. That is a 3% increase for those wages. Disney previously threatened not to pay their 38,000 employees their $1,000 bonuses due to harsh negotiations with the Service Trades Council Union, representing 6 unions. Ooh, they really are up against something. Before the wage is fully increased to $15 an hour in October 2021, the wage will gradually increase in increments in the years leading up to it. This started with an agreement reached in July to raise the wage to $15 an hour for 10,000 Disney World workers in California. All right, so again, this is where negotiations get weird and gets funny, because you sit down at the table, you come with an agreement, then you have to put a timeline on it. So clearly they could not reach a timeline, so they did a sliding scale, meaning it'll go up in increments until we get to 2021. Sad part of that is we don't know how many of them will actually be working there still by 2021. So the people that actually did the negotiations are not always the people who will benefit from the negotiation, which is unfortunate. The saddest thing is, as much money as Disney World makes, and we know it's up in the billions, I think most of their workers were getting paid 8 or 9, if that. I don't even know if it was that.
What's the minimum wage in Florida?
That is a very good question. Anybody else?
Actually, so Disney, when it comes to paying their employees, it says that they'll pay them $9.26 an hour for the position of greeter, and for the position of developer, you can get paid up to $62.77. But like you said, this is a company that grosses in the billions, so their net that they're getting yearly, recent statistics say it's $92 billion. So for a company that's making $92 billion a year, and they only are paying their greeters $9.26 per hour, I don't even know if that's 1% of what they're making a year.
If it is, it's barely. It sounds like point something.
.00.
Like point something.
It's
Could you-
incredible.
Could you repeat what positions you were talking about greeter and who else?
So for greeter, like if you book a trip to Disney World right
Mhm.
now, you want to go see Mickey, the person who will greet you as you're walking in the park, they're probably making $9.26 an hour.
Do you have any more information on other positions?
It just says that if you're, so they kind of skip a lot, and they go straight up towards developer, which I'm assuming you would be working at corporate, and that's $62.77 an
Which
hour.
is, I'm sure,
Yeah,
not the status
wow.
quo. So that's not the status quo.
And what I was getting to that, is technology is gonna take over in 2020. When it was 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
By then, instead of a greeter, they're gonna have a big machine
Right.
with
Yep.
some good lights and call
Well,
it a day.
I mean, we're seeing it
Goodbye.
already. Like, if you go to your local
Goodbye.
McDonald's, like, someone's not even going to take your order. You can walk up to the machine
They're
and
straight
get your
plain.
order taken.
They
So,
really do.
yeah, I agree.
But again, you get but this is the point. You get into unions, and people forget, if you don't change with the times, you're going to get left behind. So the negotiation that you would have used in the 80s, you can't use those same negotiation tactics in the 2000s. So like I said, they kind of got played, because by the time we get to 2021, a lot of the stuff that they're using humans to do, especially at theme parks, they're not going to need them for anymore. And they was like they were going to do it in increments. Okay, well, if you're only paying me 9 something, and these increments are only 10 cents a year, I still haven't gained $1 by the time we get to 2021.
Right.
I didn't even gain $1. So what did we really do? What did we really do?
They're just buying time.
Pretty much.
That's it.
But they did their obligations, because they negotiated with the union. The union is going to sign off on it, which we'll find out on September 5th. But the union's probably going to sign off on it, and everybody's, and those that can't see me, I'm using air quotes. Everybody's happy. Thoughts?
They're playing them.
I don't think everybody's going to be happy. I mean, I really think, number one, the employees know that this is probably just a farce. Like, this is happening because, of course, Disney's name got put in the news over their recent employee who died in her car. I think Winnie Mesfin, she lived out of her Honda Civic. She was 61. She had heart problems. And a company that makes $92 billion a year, you can't make sure that one of your nightly janitors has enough to maybe go to her local PCP or whoever is her provider. It made Disney look bad. And of course, Disney has a certain image, because we all know perception is reality.
Mhm.
So this is why I believe these talks are even going on, so that Disney can kind of like backtrap and do some PR damage and say, oh no, we're going to pay them, we promise, in a while.
That's a very long while. That's a very long while. I mean, so it poses the question: do companies have an obligation to ensure that their employees are getting fair wages and incentives?
Yes.
Are we still there, or have we gotten past that? That now it's solely on the employees to make sure that you have your own health care, that you have your own incentives. That are we there yet? Have we gotten there? That we have alleviated companies of having the responsibility to make sure they take care of their employees?
It's gonna be up to the government. That's it. The companies are gonna play their cards to save and make as much money as possible. There's people in the top of companies that really don't care about their employees, and if the government is gonna let them play around and get between the loopholes, then they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. The richer want to get richer, and the poor are gonna get poorer. So it's up to you on your own on what you're gonna do. That's the way I look at it. As Quickly Media, as the company that we have now, we worry about building leaders. And our culture is build yourself as a leader. Don't depend on anybody but yourself. Why? Because of these situations.
So do we feel like we should reinstate unions?
Oh yeah,
Is there a need for unions again
for sure.
to protect the interests of employees?
I think so, but like we already talked, technology is taking over. So again, there's just not that much need for like people anymore. So like you were saying, it's up to the government to force these large companies to take care of their people.
Mhm.
And so I looked it up, and it says that Florida's minimum wage is only $8.25. So they're only paying their employees $1.01 more than the minimum wage. So again, it's just like you have to force these companies to treat their employees correctly if you want anything done.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's segue this to Georgia. So there's been a fight to get $15 an hour for certain jobs in Georgia. All right, so Daniel, I'm gonna ask you, because you're a small business, how many employees do you have?
We have about 9 employees right now.
Okay, so if we were to impose a $15 minimum wage, how would that affect your business, your bottom line, with 9 employees?
If we do that, see, out of those employees, half of them were commission, and the other half are salary.
Oh, we got a nice structure.
And the way we do it is because salary for the people that are working in the computer, the people that need to come in to the office every day and do production, these guys, I want them to be calm. I want them to know that they're here and they have a secure paycheck and all they have to worry about is getting the job done. I don't want them to ever think, oh my God, I'm running late. They're gonna discount my hour, or I gotta get this done before I get out of here. You know, again, it goes all back to the culture. And then the commission guys, hey, if you don't sell, you don't eat. It's on you.
This is true. So do they have a base salary or is it just
It's on
strictly
you.
commission?
No, it's strictly commission, but it's a good commission. So, hey man, if you don't eat, you know what I mean? You gotta get out there.
Well, this is true. Okay, so the issue, $15 an hour sounds great in theory. Now, granted, you have to account for a lot of things. It's just like with this whole Disney debacle. You have to account for a lot of things. What is the cost of living in Florida? Is $8.25? Is $8.25 a livable, workable wage to not only be able to sustain, but to live a good, comfortable life? All these things have to be taken into consideration. And it's the same thing when you segue to $15 an hour in Atlanta. Is $15 an hour reasonable on both sides? So there has to be a consideration for both sides. So with Daniel being a small business owner, if he had to pay all 9 of his workers $15 an hour, he'd probably be out of business. That's a lot. For a small business, $15 an hour for every employee that's full-time is a lot. Now, granted, most companies jump around that because they won't make people full-time. They'll make them part-time, which pretty much makes them responsible for their own stuff. Now, there are some companies out there, I think Darden is one, and a couple of other companies that give their part-time employees a great benefits package. That's not very common. They will give them the bare minimum and keep it pushing. So do we think that $15 an hour is fair on both sides? Of course, for the employees, it's great. We make $15 an hour, life is great, it's great. But is it really great if you put your employer out of business? Because now you're making them pay everybody $15 an hour. Is it really fair?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's about finding a happy medium somewhere in the middle, because raising the minimum wage or raising the wage for certain jobs is only going to raise the cost of other things too. And so you have to find that middle ground where it's not that we're just raising the sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here, raising the wage, but also finding a middle ground where we're able to support ourselves, right?
Well, I think a question for me, in response to your question, I have a question, which is, if the only way for you to start and to keep a business is to know that you're shortchanging your employees and not paying them a livable wage, is that an ethical reason to keep your business?
Business don't run on ethics.
I was getting ready to say, I was like, it depends on.
That might be
know,
true,
what-
but
what
then
your-
you admit that you know that you're shortchanging these people and you're not paying them what they worth, because you
and
need
the
these.
business by itself will go down.
But your business by itself would go down if your employees can't put gas in their car to come to work.
Right, that's what I'm
So
saying.
what is
they'll
the
work,
happy
they'll
medium?
work stressed out. They won't be happy to be at work. They'll want to leave every time.
They'll have to call out days because they got to go to their other job that maybe pays them more. So I agree, we have to find that middle ground. But I do think it's not okay to just leave it up to the government or leave it up to individuals to take care of themselves. If your company needs these people to be in that seat and to do a job so that you make your bottom line, you got to take care of your people.
Right.
Which I guess brings the next question. Is it more, because of where we become as a society, and I want to pose this question to everybody because I want everybody's responses. I want to hear this. Is it better to get a job where you're making $6,000 to $8,000 a year, no benefits, just $6,000 to $8,000, or to have a job where you're making about $40,000 but full benefits? Thoughts?
Depends on where you live.
I will say it does depend on where you live.
Give me a city and I'll give you a better perspective.
All right, so let's say I need a middle of the way place. So let's say Marietta, Georgia, and Marietta, Georgia.
I'll take the 60 all day.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
60,000, no benefits. I'll get my own benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
For sure.
All right, so give me another city where you wouldn't want to do that.
San Francisco. Hell no.
Okay, that's. So I guess the question becomes, how important is it to have because most of us either work or are looking for a job or something like that. How important is it to have a benefits package? Because remember, the old days of pensions and all that stuff is gone out the window. So now we have 401ks, and that gets tricky because if your company's not matching your 401k, you really just have a 401k. So how important is benefits to you that they're already doing? Healthcare, 401ks. How important is it to you?
Pension is completely gone.
You don't see it a lot.
It's
That's scary.
yeah, it's almost completely
Yeah,
eradicated.
it's almost it's
Like we're not gonna touch our Social Security. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll
Like
be gone.
everybody our age in the studio, we're
Start
not
ma-
seeing that.
Hustle,
Yeah.
hustle.
We're
make
paying
your
for
own.
it though,
Make your
right?
own.
And
And,
I think-
every
and I
check
think-
you
I
make,
think-
it comes out, but we're paying for it, but we're not gonna see it.
Yeah,
Don't
we're
be
not-
waiting
at
for
all.
nobody.
And I think the millennials are starting to wake up to that, and I think that's why a lot of people now realize that, you know, as an individual, you might need more than one job, or you not even more than one job, but more than one source of income, and so that you could take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are waking up to that.
The average millennial is making what, 30,000, 33,000,
Yeah, depends.
and that's what our parents made when they were in college.
Yeah, like entry level
Come on.
wages haven't really changed
Yeah.
since the early to mid '90s.
Yeah, it's a very sad situation. But again, I mean, but we can't depend on government to completely do this. So
Right.
do we? I think we're saying that there's a need for more unions.
Yeah.
But then the question becomes, who's negotiating? Because if they can get a crappy deal like this one that Disney just did, then unions are kind of obsolete too. Because if they can't make a case on our behalf that's actually going to be in this time span, what good are they as well? But that brings us to the next subject. All right, so Bernie Sanders has apparently introduced is getting ready to introduce legislation pretty much to make these companies pay for the governmental assistance that they're using. So thousands of Amazon workers receive food stamps. Bernie Sanders wants Amazon to pay. Now the article specifically looked at Amazon and Walmart. It's fine. We'll go with that example because they are two of the big ones that people do know, and they do employ a lot of people. So here are the facts. Bernie Sanders is introducing legislation to require large employers like Amazon, Walmart, and McDonald's to fully cover the cost of food stamps, public housing, Medicaid, and other assistance received by their employees. The goal is to force corporations to pay a living wage and curb roughly $150 billion in taxpayer dollars in tax that currently go to funding federal assistance programs for low-wage workers each year. The bill introduced in the Senate on September the 5th, so he hasn't introduced it yet. It gets introduced on September the 5th, which is what, next week? That's next week. Would impose a 100% tax on government benefits received by workers at companies with 500 or more employees. So this really isn't going to hit small businesses. It's 500 or more. All right, so an example would be if an Amazon employee receives $300 in food stamps, Amazon would be taxed the $300. The goal is to close the income gap between the wealthy and the impoverished. Labor groups say that the gap is particularly pronounced at the nation's largest and most profitable companies. Walmart has 2.2 million workers. Amazon has 575,000 workers. So what do we think? Thoughts? Y'all got to give me something to work with, people. What kind of thoughts do we have?
I'm
This
gonna
affects
say I
all of
kind
us.
of-
What kind of thoughts do we have?
So you're saying, explain it again. So you're saying that whatever benefits that the employee would need, such as they go and get medication, Amazon's paying for that.
Well, it's a little more than that. So it's public housing, it's food stamps, all of it. So if you're an employee and you are getting, like they said, $300 in food stamps, then they're going to tax Amazon that $300. So in essence, the government is no longer paying for it, you are. And the ideology is, since you're not paying us a fair living wage and we have to seek assistance from the government, you're going to pay for it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 4, and not only just because like your employees need it, because we have lobbyists that are in Washington every single day fighting for these corporations so that they make more and more money. They just got huge tax cuts that are not trickling down. If I hear that phrase one more time, I promise. That does not work. Trickle down does not work. It's all being kept. So you're not paying taxes like you should. Our government, our U.S. government, is now treating corporations like people more than we're treating people like people. So yes, if you need that person, like I said, to be there to fill that seat so that you get to be on a yacht somewhere in the French Riviera, then yeah, you need to pay them $300 for their food stamps.
Well, let me put a spin on it. So Amazon reported a profit of $3.3 billion last year, and its sales climbed to 31% to $178 billion. If that brings more perspective.
And it's just gonna get bigger.
Exactly. Every year is going to get bigger because I think Amazon is getting ready to start delivery services. So now they'll be delivering to rival UPS and all those other companies.
They
so that's even more money.
They do. Like
It's a
I went to go.
monopoly.
I went for housing the other day, just to go check out a new apartment, and the residential officer, she's showing me around the property, and they have Amazon lockers. Like the property I went to had Amazon lockers, like in a section of the apartment, so that Amazon could just pull up, and if you order something, it goes to your individual locker. It doesn't have to go to your apartment door. You don't have to worry about anybody stealing it. Amazon is taking over. You can get Amazon lockers at your local Whole Foods now. Like, no, absolutely. Pay for people's food stamps. What are you doing?
Now, 1 in 3 Amazon employees receives food stamps. For a company that just reported $3.3 billion last year, 1 in 3 employees.
It's not
at
a lot,
Amazon.
though. If you think about it, $3.3 billion for a company that employs that many people, it's not a lot. So Bezos is a smart guy, you know. He must be hiding some money, not showing the right numbers, or really just, like he says himself, he's planning 5 years ahead. So when you ask Jeff Bezos about how the last quarter go, he's going to tell you, well, that quarter was planned 5 years ago.
Well,
So-
let's bring perspective on that too. He founded Amazon in 1994, and he has seen his net worth steadily climb from, and he's now worth 157 billion, up from 99 billion a year ago. That's just him.
Yeah, and it's just shares. It's all in shares. Now, again, this subject is inequality. It's really what it is. And is people that are working for these guys crying out loud that, hey, how come we hear in our news that our main leader is the richest man, yet I'm out here getting food stamps? Yeah, you're right. They got to go out and get food stamps, but it's only going to get to a certain level of control periodically until inflation goes up again, and then this conversation happens again and again. And it's a vicious cycle. So it's never going to have a solution. I'm sorry to break the ice and be so strong about it, but I'm real because I understand how it works. It's not going to be a solution.
I'm not going to take that apathetic way out and say, well, we might as well not try because
Oh,
there's
no,
never
no,
going to
yeah.
be a solution.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm
Keep
not gonna do
trying.
that.
Do your thing. And, you know, they need unions and they need people to rise up and they need people to speak or else it's going to get worse.
Amazon needs people to work for them is the
Right.
bottom line. Like, before unions and everything, Amazon would not be Amazon if people didn't get up every day at the crack of dawn, put on their clothes, and go work for Amazon.
Right.
So if you can't make sure that those people have gas in their car, that those people, when they get sick, have a way to deal with that so that you have strong and healthy workers, then you need a better business plan, point blank.
Right. No, but I'll be honest. What they're doing now is just patching the road. They're not really going to fix it. They're just patching it.
And
There-
as long as those people are still getting up out of bed and going to work, I don't think anything's
Yeah,
going to
But
change.
what
and if
happens
one
when they
cries-
don't? What happens when they die in their Honda Civic at 61 years
They'll
old?
move to China.
You can't move to China if you're dead. Sorry.
Really?
I think you're talking about the company, right?
The company.
The company
Yeah,
moved
it was
to
Yeah,
China.
the company. and you know, it's just real.
I mean,
Shoot.
it is very true. All right, so this Amazon spokeswoman, Melanie Etches, said the figures were misleading because it doesn't account for short-term workers nor part-time workers. So we do have to equate that in as well, that this number that they're saying, how many of them are actually full-time workers? Because a lot of times that's how companies get around. So, okay, well, why do I have to be responsible for part-time workers? They chose this job because they want the flexibility and the money that we offer them to not be here full-time. So that has to be accounted for, too.
I don't know.
That's
Should
a
You
we
have
tough
this
say
look on your
five?
face.
That's a tough
I
one.
think part-time or full-time, you need to be paid a living wage. I
Now-
think if you're working, you need to be paid a living wage, but that's just me.
No. Now I want to be clear. What I said is not my personal opinion. It's just what's happening. Is the reality. In my opinion, that's not how we run Quickly Media. You know what I mean? My personal opinion, I go with you. I'm all down for, you know, helping everybody get to where they need to be, but effort meets your result.
Well, yeah.
And
Well, I think it's conversations like this that kind of change the way things are. Like, we are having conversation on the radio, like media, things that are happening on CNN. Like, conversations like this change the atmosphere. They influence what's happening, and they make a difference. So, I don't know. That's just my point. I'm going to sit here and say that if you're employing people and you run the business, you need to do it the right way. You need to pay these people.
And I think it boils down to what are the employees demanding? Are we demanding that you allow us to make $40,000 a year, but we don't care about benefits? Or are we saying we want the full package like we used to have in the old days? Yes, you're not offering us a pension, but can you at least take care of our health care? Can you at least take care of making sure we at least have a 401k? Can you at least match that 401k, even if it's only 1%? What are we asking for? Because if we're not asking for anything, they're not going to give anything. So I think that's kind of where we leave. But on that note, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with our special guest, our special correspondent on the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
You may think that it's over, that your life is done. The best oh my. Is yet to come. Don't sweat the challenge. Your battle's already won. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yet to come. Listen, y'all. See, God writes the end before the story began. Oh, he told me to tell you the best is yet to come. As the author of your faith, he wrote a provision for you to win. You're a winner, you're a winner, you're a winner. Yeah. You ain't seen your best days yet. You ain't seen your best days yet. You ain't seen your best days yet. I don't care what people told you, you ain't seen no best. You ain't seen your best days. Oh, well, sister, you ain't seen your best days yet. Stay in the word, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother. You ain't seen your best days. Trust in no one. You ain't seen your best days. Would you deposit this word in your heart? You ain't seen your best days. No, 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 it's not too late for you to start. I want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you. You ain't seen your best day yet. You ain't seen your best days yet. Get away from negative words. Get away from negative people. Hear God speak to you. The best, the best, the best. Do you hear me? Oh, 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 no. Oh, you're gonna run and not be weary. You're gonna walk and not faint. Oh, the best is on the way. I see you, eagle. I see you flying high. Ooh, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. I know you may think that you have, but God told me to tell you, you gotta keep on fighting, keep on praying. You ain't seen nothing yet. No, 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 no. You ain't seen your best days yet. You ain't seen your best days yet. It is greater, it's stronger. Thank you, Jesus. It's yet. Greater is the ending of a thing.
everybody. It's Ricardo D. Rice from the Leadership Blend, where we're simplifying your leadership. All right, everybody, welcome to this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice, and my correspondents.
Michelle Richards.
And Shemaine Cruz.
And our special correspondent.
Vigilante.
And our special guest.
Alan?
Daniel Acosta.
So yeah, if y'all can hear, we have a full studio today. So it's been an interesting conversation. I'm gonna get everybody out of their comfort zones because everybody seems to be sitting in their comfort zone. So we're getting out of comfort zones. All right. So when we left, we were talking about fair wages, inflation, cost of living, all that good stuff. Which is funny because we were talking about the need for unions. And again, people my age and baby boomers, especially baby boomers, are very familiar with unions and how they are there to kind of be the advocates for the employers versus the employees. Well, for the employees, not the employers. And in the last couple of years or the last decade or so, we've seen the demise of unions. So the question becomes, do we still need unions? And we had a conversation about Disney and them striking a deal to take their employees at $15 an hour over the course of the next 6 years, but I digress. And that deal was struck by unions. So they are still around. And actually, I think that airports still have unions too. Airport employees, I want to say they still have unions as well. So talking about unions, it looks like the judges have chimed in on Trump's attack on unions. So here are the facts. Okay, so U.S. District Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson in Washington, D.C. has argued and put down various notions brought forth by Trump's executive orders regarding making it easier to fire federal employees. In May of this year, Trump signed 3 executive orders that gave agencies more authority and power in firing employees based on poor performance, which also opened the door to contract negotiations. The Trump administration argued that it would not only save taxpayers millions of dollars, but also cut down on government bureaucracy. However, it was Jackson who ruled on Friday that he exceeded his authority. Jackson wrote in his opinion that the president can issue executive orders over labor management relations, but not if executive actions conflict with collective bargaining rights guaranteed under federal law. And this apparently was a 119-page opinion. All right, so let's see if we can get to the basis of this. So I laugh because we're talking about being able to fire federal employees, which most people that keep up with the current administration knows that it's like a reality show, and every other week somebody is getting fired. So in an attempt to control the narrative, Trump has tried to pass or written 3 executive orders to kind of deal with this. All right, so for those that do not know, an executive order is kind of what's the best way to put this? It kind of says that the person occupying the White House, the president at that time, is kind of issuing executive orders that can bypass Congress, can bypass Senate, and he only gets a couple of those.
My way or the highway.
Exactly. So he's given a couple of them, but even with that, remember, when you're dealing with government, there is a system of checks and balances. So even the president can't do what he wants to do. So this is why you get into this whole debate with this particular issue, because now the courts are saying, okay, look, you've kind of exceeded your executive orders, so you've issued too many.
I was about to ask that.
He's
used all
issued
of
too
them
many.
yet?
Yeah, and we're only he hadn't been in office.
About a year and a half?
Yeah, he hadn't been in office that long, and he's already signed this many.
I'm just going to say we're surprised that before he was in office, he literally had a show where his catchphrase was "you're fired," and we're surprised that he's firing people left
No,
and
that's
right.
funny.
I have
That's
actually
funny.
never thought of that before, but that is kind of funny.
You know, I mean, here we sit again, and again, I sit in between, because in theory, I'm a journalist, so I sit in between. So I don't really have a biased opinion either way, because I mean, he was brought in to kind of shake things up. That was the thought process. He has done just that. But has he shook things up in a good way to uncover the stuff that's been covered for too long, or has he just shaken up stuff just to shake stuff up? Becomes the question.
I don't even have an answer for that.
I don't know if anybody has a great answer.
I mean, he
Crazy.
was brought in for his business prowess and how he handles affairs of business. But, I mean, I guess what we forgot is that the president sitting in office, and in essence, we're still, this term is very strong, but I'm still going to use it because that's how we used to be referred to. In the old days, we were referred to as a superpower. And we were expected to kind of police the world and make sure that, you know, people aren't treating other countries bad and so on and so forth. I don't necessarily think we still have that title. And I think we're losing that title every day because of what we're dealing with in the current administration. Because the part that we forget is not only does the president have to deal with us, he also has to deal with diplomatic affairs overseas. And I think that's the part we forgot, that he has to be able to go to China and understand the culture of China and not be disrespectful to
Right.
the person in charge of China. Or he
Right.
has to be able to understand, I don't even want to say Russia because I was getting ready to say Russia. Clearly he has a perfect
Well, I
relationship
mean,
with Russia.
he just messed up with the queen. Like, you messed up with
Yeah,
the
I
queen,
saw
so
that
the whole
video.
world was kind of like he walked in front of her. He did not wait to see if she was okay. Like,
He's
just
messed up in Germany lots too.
yeah, like went over there and totally like went against all protocol, and every single president that the United States has had has gone over there and shown respect to the queen. So if you messing up with Elizabeth, like, come on now.
Well, I mean, there's a certain level of diplomacy that a president has to have, and we just haven't seen that at this point. The comments that are made, and I'm not going to solely blame him, because the people that write his speeches, the people that are supposed to be with him in his barricade and inform him what's going on, I feel like they failed as well, because that's kind of your job too, to make sure that the sitting president understands diplomacy, that he understands the culture of the places he's going to visit, that he understands the issues that are pressing in the place that he's going to visit, and we just haven't seen this. We
You
talked
think
about,
he needs a better team?
I think he does.
Absolutely.
I believe it can't just be him. He's the president of the free world. So it can't just be him. So the question is, who's on his team? Like, who's writing these speeches? Who's informing him of culture things? Who's informing him of what's going on? Like,
You know what
The
can probably answer those
Rockefellers.
questions? Is that I'm okay. I'm gonna sit here. I'm not for her or anything. I'm not trying to give out free promo, but I did get caught up in this podcast of this rapper from Baltimore who's been doing a live reading of Omarosa's new book about
Oh,
her
good
time in the
God.
White House. I know, like, that's a touchy subject, Omarosa and everybody, but I suggest it. Read the book. Like, because me just listening to the live reading and not even believing that she has had the gall to write some of these things, it's good. You got to read it, I'll say.
yeah, but the problem I have with Omarosa is she's the female Trump. They think exactly alike. They operate alike. That's why he kept her around
She
here.
thought she was, and then, she's clearly not working for the White House anymore, so
Oh,
she
sweetie.
discovered some things. She realized some things that we already knew, but...
Look,
Yeah.
I was watching the show Damages. Has anybody ever seen Damages with Glenn Close?
No,
That's
I've never
okay.
seen that.
I need
I
y'all
watched
to
a
go
little
on
bit of it.
Hulu Prime and watch it. But Damages is about a corporate lawyer, Patty Hughes, and she's like the biggest law firm in the world. It's kind of like Scandal, but a lot more intense. So it's a lot more intense. But I was watching the episode where she had her right-hand man, Tom. She fired Tom within the company only to take him underground to do all the dirty work. That's how I feel about Omarosa. I feel like she was fired as a show, but she still has ties to the White House, and eventually she'll pop up doing something. Omarosa's an opportunist. She always has been.
Oh,
I feel like she always
absolutely.
will be.
Absolutely.
And this is just an exploit.
But she's an incredibly smart businesswoman as well.
Absolutely, and so is Trump. So again, I feel like they're two sides of the same coin. So anything that she came up with, I am not going to say that she did independently. I feel like they work as a team. And like I said, I think she was fired just to go underground and do all the dirty work because that's who she does. And here we see it now. Until they can sit Trump and Omarosa in the same room and they can go back and forth, I'm not interested.
Time
That's
will
just me.
tell. Time will tell, because we got all these people saying interesting things now.
That'd make a dope movie plot. You fire somebody for them to work for you underground. That's
Vigilante, you
cold.
gonna be a filmmaker now? What
I
we
might
doing?
as well. That's hard.
I mean, again, I just think that's how it is. I think she got fired. She's underground doing all the dirty work. And she just did this because she was like, well, if I can go underground, I've been fired, I can make a case out of it. And I think she probably still has Trump's personal number, and she still calls him on the weekend. It was like, so hey, are we still going golfing? But make sure they don't get any pictures.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, that's just how I look at it.
Okay, that's Ricardo's theory, y'all.
That's my theory on Omarosa.
It's not bad.
I just feel like that's what it is. Like I said, when I was watching that episode of Damages, I immediately thought of those two. I was like, this is something these two would pull.
We need to do like a poll after the show on our Facebook page. Go to the Facebook page, Leadership Blend. We're gonna do a poll if you think Ricardo's theory is correct.
I'm telling you, in another couple of months, if not the beginning of the year, Omarosa's going to come into the White House with some new title. Or we're going to go to do a White House press conference, and guess who's going to be the White House correspondent? It's going to be Omarosa.
Oh.
I'm just telling you. And when it happens, everybody heard it here first on the Leadership
Oh
Blend
my
with
goodness.
your host, Ricardo D. Rice. Because
Ricardo's
it's going to happen.
theory,
Mark my
this
words,
is
it's
not
going to
facts,
happen. I
y'all.
promise you. All right, so we're going to get into more fun stuff. So we're going to segue to what's trending on the Twitterverse or all our social media stuff. So, Michelle, what do we have?
Well, of course, I couldn't let it slip by without talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Carters, coming to Atlanta for the On the Run tour. And Atlanta, true to form, Atlanta, I love y'all, but I know y'all. Why? Apparently, at the close of the concert, two concert goers hopped up on stage and immediately began to follow Jay-Z and Beyonce as they exited the stage with nobody noticing. So it took maybe about, if you're watching the video, it takes maybe about 5 to 6 seconds for one of the dancers to notice that, hey, these people aren't supposed to be up here. And all of the dancers come running backstage, and it's just a hodgepodge of seeing security plus dancers. The dancers have already been on the two concert goers at this point, and they are literally in a physical altercation trying to get them away. It's not certain whether these concert goers actually made contact with Jay-Z or Beyonce. However, it is assumed or it's speculated that a couple security guards got fired that night and that Beyonce may or may not be performing in Atlanta anymore, which would break my heart. So Beyonce, please come back. I'm
That
sorry.
is garbage. This is a business, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium was sold out both days. The likelihood of them not come back here
But
to
how
get these
did-
Atlanta dollars.
How did two people, if you were Beyonce and two concert goers are able to, like, we all know these really famous performers, and with the passing of the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, we love you. Beyonce, I would argue, is one of the top performers and one of the top artists of the day. And Michael Jackson had the same fans who would do crazy things and try and get to him. Prince had the same fans. So if you are an artist of this caliber and something like this is able to happen, they're able to get to you, like, how do you feel? Like, do you not just clean house and fire your entire security team and start over? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, but in their defense, you really never know what's going to happen at a Beyonce show. At any given time, she's liable to have 25 women come from out the back, saying, "Oh, my single ladies," and
They could have 25 women twirling from the ceiling, and that's fine. But no, you can't hop up on stage and get within arm's reach of me. Like, I need my security. I'm so happy to Beyonce's backup dancers. Thank you guys so much. Like, you saved the queen. Thank
Hey,
you.
think about
The
this.
Bayhive thanks you. Thank you so much.
Think about this. Over the weekend, she probably made more than $10 million.
just from us. That's just from ATL.
She's definitely coming back.
She's coming back.
It's a business, and the one, and I've always said this. I am not a Beehive person by any stretch, but I've always respected Beyonce for controlling her own narrative. What does that mean? You only know about Beyonce what she wants you to know. You only know about Jay-Z what they want you to know. They've always controlled their narrative, and even when it's spun the wrong way, it gets spun the right way.
Yeah.
You got to respect their hustle.
I mean, I do.
They'll be
I
back.
definitely respect it. I hope she comes back. I do.
And I
I'm
think-
sorry,
They'll be back.
Beyonce.
I think as
that's
an
not all
artist
of
like
us.
that.
It's not all Atlantans. I promise.
As an artist like that, I think they probably had,
They're
used to stuff like that happening,
They're used to it.
That can't be the first time somebody's gotten that close to her, and I know, I'm sure you have your moments where things like that happen as a celebrity.
That's
Exactly.
just so
That comes with the
scary.
territory.
Especially
Like,
Beyonce.
as
Have
a-
you
so,
seen her
like-
fans?
Okay, I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
if you hold a concert, like, and somebody hops up on stage and tries to get with you,
It's a girl or a
vigilante,
guy.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if they hop up on stage, you
No,
don't
humor
know.
him.
An ugly
humor
girl.
him.
Fine, they're
Humor him.
two
Oh,
of the
dang.
most beautiful women you've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
But
No,
you
no,
don't
no, no, no,
know.
no, no. Don't
You
give him
don't-
that, 'cause that's already answered.
You
Don't give
told
him
me
that.
to humor him.
Yeah, I mean, like,
But you don't know, like, even if they are, like, you don't know if they just want to give you a hug. You don't know. It's a concert.
In the
People are
video clip, because I
crazy.
haven't seen it. In the video clip, are they coming aggressively or are they just walking behind them?
They hop up on stage and
Mhm.
they're walking fairly quickly towards the back.
The
like,
part I'm stuck at is the hop on stage part, because you coming from a lower part and you have to jump up, and so then that's the part when they should have been stopped at that point.
they weren't. They
Now that
literally
part is
hopped
scary.
up.
well, it depends on, because I saw the way it's laid out. So there was like the huge screen, and
Mhm.
then there's like looks like an escalator that goes on that way.
Mhm.
There's like 3 escalators between that. They come from the screen, but it's like 3 escalators, and there's like people in between these 3 escalators.
Mhm.
So the ideology of somebody running up there is really not that far fetched if you really think about it. But nobody was thinking about it. It's kind of like when we talked about the airplane that was hijacked. The guy that was the air lift guy who flags the planes, he decides to jump on a plane one day, takes the plane for a spin. Nobody thought about
Nobody
it, but
expects
anybody
that.
could have done it at any given moment.
So
Was it
my
just
question
him on the
is,
plane?
Yeah, it was just him. He wasn't a new employee. He'd been working for, I think, the airport for 5 years. So he wasn't a new employee.
he just decided it was time for a joyride.
that he wanted to take the plane for a joyride, and that's exactly what he did. Anybody could do it because he was nothing but an airlift controller.
So
Anybody could do it.
What
That's
do you
dope.
do as an artist? Like,
Really?
what if that happens to you? What do you do? Like, do you fire your security team? Like, are you
Yeah.
surprised?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your answer.
They fired.
They fire
They fired. And before I come back to where did she perform?
here in Atlanta. She was at
Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz.
Before I
Stadium.
come
How do you
back,
not know that?
we
Bayhive gonna come
Beyonce
for
hasn't
you.
been Beyonce for a minute.
Oh my
What does that
goodness.
mean?
The Bayhive gonna come for you.
Since
Like, can we put a disclaimer out there?
I know. Let me, wait,
He
let me
is
put my
not a part of
disclaimer.
the leadership.
The thoughts and opinions and processes of the correspondents that are sitting on the show are not necessarily reflective of the thoughts, ideologies, or concepts from the
too
leadership
many
band or its
words.
host, Ricardo D. Rice. Now carry on.
Too many words.
I'm not getting killed by the Beehive because you
I love
have to make
Beyonce.
this
They
statement.
waiting outside already. I
They
know.
are?
I feel
Okay,
it.
you know
I
they
feel
on
She
their
it.
way
got
to
some
the
fine
studio.
fans. I hope they waiting out there.
Wow.
They're gonna be waiting with
Sir,
bats and
answer the
sticks.
question.
Whole
Huh?
different ideology.
I'm gonna come in disguise. I like Beyonce though, but yeah, we gotta fire my security team and we gotta make sure that they doubled up on security the next time I come back to Atlanta and every show from this point on.
Because I mean, are you expecting that? I guess as an artist, I guess depending on how
I'm
big
expecting
you are,
for
but
people to try. At every
you
show,
want them to try.
Yeah, you want them to try at every show. Because
I don't think you want them to try if you're at that level, man. If you're at Beyonce level,
No,
you
you
just
don't-
want to
you
do
don't
your
have a
show.
choice.
go
Yeah,
home.
you don't have
Thank
you don't have a
you.
choice but for them to try. They're
You,
going
you
to
already
try.
know they're gonna try.
Yeah,
you just
they're
gotta
gonna
be
try.
ready. That's
you gotta
it.
be ready.
They're
for
gonna
it.
try.
That's what I'm saying.
it.
You gotta be ready. I just did a show with Bandit Gang Marco and Sean Hendricks. They both R&B singers. When I say we had to double up the barricade for the girls, you know what's gonna happen. As soon as we came from backstage, there was girls falling from the ceiling.
What?
That just
Never
happened.
not falling from the ceiling.
All right,
You know he's
All right.
the supreme god, so I'm sure
Yep.
there were women lined up.
from the
From
ceiling.
the ceiling.
From the ceiling.
Ladies of Atlanta, it's never that serious. I
Hey, man,
promise.
it's
But
on-
again,
Started
we
with the
still-
Beatles.
yeah.
And Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The Beatles and Michael
The
Jackson.
Beatles, though. The Beatles started it.
Ladies,
The
it is not
Beatles.
that serious.
Well, they did capitalize on it because it was a part of their marketing and everything. So they did kind of capitalize first on the whole women knocking over barricades, and
All of that.
trying to get to them.
At the end of the show, they just start knocking the barricade over for show, and then they'll let them run, but they'll be safely in they bus by then. But then they'll pretend that it was a part of the show.
I gotta my fellow lady in the studio, Shemaine, are you knocking over a barricade for anybody?
Okay,
Top
Shemaine does not
artist.
like group. She does not like she gets into groupie status because that's what it is. That's groupie status.
No, I don't do that. But I do think that, I mean, they fired the security team, like fairly quickly. They took action really quickly. And that happened Saturday night. And then Sunday, their publicist issued a statement on Instagram. And they said that Beyonce and Jay-Z said that they were fine and that they were looking forward to their second show in Atlanta on Sunday. So they came back, on
I
Sunday.
told you they were
So,
fine.
Yeah, they're gonna
Why
be
are you
fine.
surprised? This is a business. Like he said, they
Yeah.
probably made $1 billion to $1 million just in those 2
They're coming
days.
back.
Nobody's gonna pass on that kind of money, and it's Atlanta.
Well, I'm glad
Indeed.
because I need the queen back. I need the queen back in the city.
You are doing the absolute most.
I know.
But again, if we look at the airplane situation, how do you just because you can do it doesn't mean you expect people to do it.
Right.
Nobody expected this guy who was an airplane guy to jump on a plane and just take it for a spin. Now, luckily, he landed the plane in the ocean, so he took his own life, and nobody was on the plane. But he did not start working for, I think it was Delta, yesterday. He's been there for 5 years. So it's the same thing with the On the Run tour. This stage is set up the same. All my friends, most of them are Beehive fanatics, so I've seen this on all their Instagrams. This stage is set up the same way everywhere they go. So just because you can do it, should I really expect you to try it? Becomes the question.
Well, I think it was kind of a good thing though, because I think for future shows or future artists who may come here, Mercedes-Benz will definitely hop up on their security a little bit more, and it'll just show them some things that they miss, so that maybe for next time they can be like, okay, this will never happen again.
Beyonce learned something new at almost every show. You notice how she ain't got no more fans behind her, like that go like this. Those fans, from the time that she got her hair
Really?
caught in the fan that time.
Oh
That is
my
true.
goodness!
That is
I
very
forgot
true.
about that.
Yeah,
That
she learned
that's very
something new
true.
every time.
So this is a learning experience for her.
Yeah, yep.
But I think as a society, it's becoming more and more scary because things that people should not do, they're doing.
Mhm.
So like this, the hijacking of the plane, and over the weekend, the shooting in Jacksonville, where apparently, anybody have the details? Because I hadn't planned on covering it, but it segued there. In any event, from what I read, it was some kind of tournament or something, and the guy got mad, I guess, and just started shooting. This is becoming almost a common thing. How do we prepare for these kinds of things when you don't really expect this kind of stuff to happen? How are they supposed to know that this guy was going to go crazy, or whatever the case may be, and just start shooting people over a tournament? How can we anticipate these kind of things? The movie shootings, the school shootings. What do we do? And I think that's where we're kind of sitting as society now. It's like, what do we do? Because this stuff could have happened at any given time in history, and it's continuously happening now. Why? What do we do? How do we remedy this kind of stuff?
We educate.
How will we do that?
Oh man, you don't have hours enough for that.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer, though. I think it is education, and I think it's got to start early. It's got to start really early.
So what are you going to teach? Are you going to teach, okay, so when you go into a room, where are all the exits?
You're gonna teach how to
No.
love. You're gonna teach how to
Yeah.
respect. You're gonna teach how to have good ethics, good morals. That nobody's gonna take that away from you.
So you think
You
that's the missing gatekeeper as to
Yeah.
why this is
Yeah.
spiraled?
All the shooters need a good dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
That-
it's not about
No,
gun
but seriously,
control.
Now,
it's
some
about
of
it's
them had
about
dads. I
it's
don't know
about
if they were
learning.
good.
No, but I think it's about being able to love and being able to grow in a nurturing way. And I think that a lot of the people that are going through these things or have become shooters or whatever maybe had something happen to them where they weren't loved in the past, and now
Mhm.
they're taking out this anger and on the rest of society. So
That's all it is.
So we're saying that the deterioration of the family unit has
I
been
think
a
it has.
forerunner.
I think it has the deterioration of the family unit has bigger impacts on society than we realize.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and then in the other hand, you got the media showing us what shouldn't be seen. You know, for example, look at this kid. What's his name? Tekashi 6ix9ine. What a joke. You know, I mean, I hate him.
And then
Yeah.
for kids to look up to somebody like that,
For real.
and that's not a good role model.
Like
for
all these
anybody
new
to have.
kids with all their face tattoos. I'm like, yeah, you do your thing. They're having fun. They're entertainers. I don't blame them. But what are the youth gonna learn from that?
But then to attack that issue, we have to go back to where we started today, which is people having to work 2 and 3 jobs, so they're never home to raise kids. And what do you, most of the times you're doing, either you're leaving your kids at a daycare center that you may not be able to monitor, or you're putting them in front of a TV because it keeps them entertained.
Or give them a tablet. Nowadays, just hand my phone to them.
Well, I mean, that's been an ongoing issue because there were no tablets when I was growing up. And my
Right.
brother and I, we were latchkey kids, you know. You just had to make it work, single parent household. My mom had to go to work. She was like, don't burn the house down. Be cool.
Same here.
I'll be back. Like,
Mhm.
but we didn't go shoot up any place or I don't know. I think there's just something different with the times that we have nowadays. And maybe with all this social media, we're not social in the right ways. We're not social to where we can understand not to go to that place of there are human beings here, there are lives here. I'm not going to do anything rash that's going to put anybody in danger. But I think, ironically enough, with the social media culture, we've become very selfish. Like, because that's the only way that I could see you even doing an act like that. It's just out of pure selfishness.
And our need for attention. I think
Yes,
that
God.
goes in hand with social media. There's just this need for attention, and also the need for we need better mental health care as well. It's just a multitude of things. There's no one right answer. Right?
Life is changing.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that we can do to combat things like that and to combat any type of violence, though, is to come back with love.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a very religious guy, but I do like the saying, you know, Jesus said, smack me once, I'll put my other cheek, you can smack me twice. What does that teach you? You know?
And I think that does work because that was kind of the route they took. Anybody remember, I think it was a couple of years back in Manchester when Ariana Grande was performing and they had that shooting happen. And it really shook up that entire community, much love to Manchester. But they came back and they held that big benefit concert where that was the message. Like, this happened. We're not going to let it change us. It's nothing but love. And I think Ariana actually came back and performed.
Yeah, she raised money for the families, I think. that
Yeah,
lost
just to
people.
get over that. That was like a really strong moment for her. And I think that does work when these things happen and the media wants to feed you fear and, oh, you should be careful. But when you come back and say, no, we're not going to fear, but we are going to love and we're going to change this so that it doesn't happen again, I think that's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing is it's easy to get separated in events like that. But if we're able to come together, then it changes things. And like you said, with the narrative in Manchester, it did. It changed the narrative for that, and it was able to be, not so bad story in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
So love is the answer. That's
Love
what we
is the
came with.
answer.
Love is the answer.
Mhm.
All right. All right. So we're in the top of the second hour. So now we're going to segue to the basis of today's show, which today we are looking at the different social media outlets and how they impact your business. So I know most of us have a Facebook private page, or we have our own Twitter page. But the experts today, Daniel and Alan, we're going to talk about each individual outlet and how it affects your business and your business outcomes. So I'm gonna let these two talk about themselves individually first, and then we'll get into it. So Alan, you go first.
Yeah, so I have been in this space for about 3 or 4 years now. Before I was with Danny at Quickly Media, I was at another digital marketing agency based in North Georgia up in Canton. And so I started there kind of doing similar things to what I do here, a lot of marketing strategy, a lot of web development, and social media and other things. And then from there, I came and I met Danny and started working with him at Quickly Media about a year ago. And since then, it's been good. We've grown into a bigger office, and we're excited to hopefully move into a new space within the next year. And things have been good. Yeah, I'll let Danny go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small business owner. Anybody can maybe relate. It's just a roller coaster. But, you always want that roller coaster to keep going up and up and up and up, and make sure that, your mistakes and everything that you do wrong, you're able to learn from them quickly and pivot into the right direction. So I'm just proud and honored to be able to have Alan with us. It's been a hell of a joy, right?
Fine, we'll get the real deal when we get off the air, but that's okay. All right, so social media and your business. At one time, your business, social media was an option. It was like, I don't really want to be bothered with it. I don't really need it. Now I feel like we're at a place where social media is a necessity. And if you cannot dictate and control your own narrative through your social media platforms, you're dead in the water. Is that a fair statement?
What is our slogan?
If you're not online, you don't exist.
Boom.
Okay, that's straight, direct to the point.
Simple as that. I mean, as a business owner, at least, if you have a business and you're not online, you don't have a business.
And then I think too, it's also important to realize that there's a right and a wrong way to be online. And in some cases, it's almost
It's
better to
wrong.
have nothing up than have something up that's wrong, right? So
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it right. But that's
Well,
what we're here to help you do it right.
I think, in a little bit, because this is reminding me of one of the past shows where we talked about the collapse of Toys R Us and how, because of their deal with Amazon, they weren't able to make an online presence until it was too little too late. Like, throughout all of, the early 2000s when the internet was just starting to boom, they didn't have an online presence. So we saw how that ended for them.
Yeah, but they signed a bad contract because they actually Amazon was involved in that because they contracted Amazon. What she's referring to, there was a show that we did, I think Chris was here, and we talked about the demise of Toys R Us. And we looked at their timeline because companies that typically go under, bigger companies, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow walk to the abyss of nothingness. And with Toys R Us, that's what happened. They made a deal with Amazon when Amazon was still new for Amazon to be their exclusive online presence for Toys R Us. And in essence, Amazon said, that's cute. We're going to keep you in this contract, but we're going to contract other toy makers so that we can have all of you guys on our exclusive site. So that's what happened. Toys R Us started litigation, but it took 2 years to get out of litigation. So by the time they got out of litigation, it was too late. We were in 2006, and the internet had really started taking off, and Amazon had already gained steam. So it was a whole sordid story. It was terrible. But go to my YouTube channel at the Leadership Blend. You can watch that episode. But I digress. All right, so back to current day. So when I think of business, I think there are 4 that a business should have. Now, of course, you are the experts. So I'm just throwing my theory out there.
Okay.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
No, I think the best answer to this question is you want to be where your audience is. And so you want to find them where they live, where they're comfortable at. And so if your audience is on Facebook, then you need to be on Facebook. If your audience is on Instagram, then you need to be on Instagram. If your audience is on LinkedIn, then that's where you should be. Now, to answer your question a little more, I think that most businesses will fall under the Facebook category and the Instagram category if you want to do anything with any type of people younger. Or if your business is visual at all. But I think what the best answer that I can give is just to be where your audience is, where they live, where they're at home, where they're going to be comfortable going, because that's what your ultimate goal is to reach them.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. That would be in a small business perspective. In a medium-sized business, a bigger-sized business, you want to be everywhere.
Yeah,
Yet,
that's true.
your efforts need to be focusing to where your audience is. If you're a B2B, business to business, then you want to be in LinkedIn. If you're a B2C, then you want to be in Instagram, Facebook. If you're Walmart, Amazon, you better be everywhere and make your own social media too.
This is true.
You know, so now when we have clients come up and say, Danny, I don't know where to start, or Alan, I don't know where to start, exactly what Alan said. Just analyze where your audience is and let's focus on that first. Let's capitalize on that. Let's have a little buzz going, and then we can hop on into other social media platforms.
Okay, so how do we decipher where our audience is? Let's
What-
start there. How do we decipher where your audience is?
Well, we gotta find the buyer persona of whatever it is that you're selling. So if your company is, let's say, a gym or something like that, right? Then you're obviously going to be looking for people that are wanting to get fit and maybe need to exercise a little more, right? So where are those people going to be? They're going to be on the pages on Facebook where they're talking about, you know, how to what are those dieting tips or what are the workouts that I can do at home maybe, or you know, stuff like that. So you just got to think about, and when you come back to going back to buyer's persona, you really just got to put the nail on the head. So whoever we're looking at, maybe you want to get all the way into the what is their name, what do they look like, you know, and really kind of put a face to that buyer persona. That way you can visualize them and visualize where they're going to be.
So is this where hashtags come in? So I can go search a hashtag for weight loss.
Right. But this would be, hashtags really only are going to be working on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook, you got to get creative. You got to do paid advertisement. You got to join Facebook groups. You got to do different aspects to be able to find this buyer persona. But the buyer persona is so critically important that you need to be able to close your eyes and imagine your right exact customer.
Mm-hmm.
That customer that you want, that client that you want, you got to be able to visualize him. Literally put a picture to him or her. That way you can find them whatever you're looking for.
All right, so let's try a harder example. So let's say the radio show. So let's use me as an example. So I have a business. This is a business.
Mhm.
So where would I start? Now, of course, I have to be everywhere because I'm a personality. So, of course, I'm already everywhere.
Mhm.
But as the leadership blend goes, where would I start?
Right, so that was my first question. We're going to analyze the leadership blend, yet not you.
Mm-hmm.
The topics that you guys are, and this is a consultation really that we need to do. But in order for me to find out who your buyer persona is, I got to find out more about the business itself.
Right.
What are you talking about? What morals are you defending? Because this is a radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you defending? You know? And when I find that out, I can see, all right, then this person is going to be more likely to listen to you and hear you out. You know? For example, we have an artist in the house, correct? What kind of music you listen to? Or what kind of music are you
Predominantly
making?
creating hip hop
Hip-hop and
and R&B.
in R&B. Okay, so we would say that if we get stereotypical, we would say that most African Americans would be listening to you. All right, we got a niche here. Now, usually what you're speaking about is it love? Is it parties? Is it money? What are you rapping? What are you
What's your
singing
message?
about?
All the above, but to get more brand specific, let's say for a topic's sake, let's say money. Topic's
Okay.
sake.
So are you, when you talk about, and look how specific I am getting down to. When you talk about money, are you talking about you already have money or you going to get money?
Okay, for the sake of the convo, let's go going to get.
Okay, so now we got a younger audience.
Okay.
Because the younger audience is going to be striving more into, give me motivation and tell me how you're going to get it so I can be like you.
Right.
So now we aiming for young African Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're getting even more niche now.
Yeah.
Right. So now I know exactly what to target. I know exactly how to target. I know exactly how to sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get down
Now
to the
social media.
detail.
So when's the book coming out is what I need to know. When
Very
is it,
soon.
When is it dropping?
Actually, I want to do a little Quickly Media Academy is in the building,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the Quickly Media Academy is going to be an online course where you guys will be able to learn this stuff and really get down to analyzing who you're talking to, what are you saying, and how you're going to monetize that. All right?
And is this a course that's kind of age oriented, or can anybody sign up whether you're
And
9 or 92?
If you want to jump into digital marketing psychology, and you want to make money, maybe learn how to help other businesses or people do what we do, then Quickly Academy is going to be for you. You see, I wouldn't advertise Quickly Academy to a person that is already working at a job and has been there for 40 years and is planning to retire there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
maybe not for you.
So you've already visualized your perfect customer for
you
Quickly
better
Academy.
believe
Okay.
it is.
That's the first step.
The first step.
If you don't know what you're hunting, what the hell are you gonna hunt?
Yeah.
True.
How you gonna find to get the tools right?
All right.
So it really starts with the stuff that's in a business plan or a marketing plan, in essence. Who is
Yeah.
your target audience, your demographic,
Mm-hmm.
all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody who's just starting a business, would you advise them to have their own personal social media and their business social media?
I believe, in this question I get asked all the time,
Yeah.
I believe that your personal social media is for your personal life. Your personal social media is for your kids, for your friends, for your family, and if you even want to have one.
But at the same time, I don't think that means that, and especially in your case where you are a personality, and I think you said as well, you're an influencer. In both of those cases, I would think that you also want to create a personal brand as well. So whatever your business is has its own entity, but you as your own person have a brand.
And it depends on how far you want to take your brand. For example, you, Ricardo, you gotta make sure everybody knows who you are. You gotta
Yeah,
make sure you got
unfortunately.
those nice photos taken of you, and then you're posting out videos and documenting.
I'm
and
sorry, what was that you said again? You got to make sure he has nice photos taken of him, right?
Nice
Correct?
photos, nice
So
videos.
you can't be camera shy, right?
Michelle, I know it's
No.
your last week, but you can still be fired today.
If you're camera shy, I'm sorry, man, you ain't gonna make it.
Look, if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see plenty of selfies. And I have one photo that I use. I just hate photos.
Are
Like,
your photos catering to your audience?
I look professional.
Are your photos catering to you?
That's very professional. I let you, Shemaine, what do you think?
Is your
The
audience-
photos are not for you. Don't be selfish. The photos are for your audience.
I look professional. It's like today. I look raggedy today because I just didn't feel it today. I was like, I don't feel like shaving. I look raggedy. And everybody looked at me like, what's wrong with you? Because normally on Mondays I look
It
shaven.
is
I just
Monday
didn't
though.
feel
It
like
is
it.
Monday.
I know, and I had myself in a groove, and then I had to cover the event last week, so I shaved in the middle of the week, and I was like, hell no. So no, I would not take pictures today, Daniel, because I look terrible. But I just hate pictures. The thought of sitting there and somebody telling me to turn to the left, turn to the right, smile, arch your, it makes me cringe.
You want to be famous?
Famous is a relative term. So I
You gotta
want to
answer
be,
the question.
it's a relative term. I don't, moving along. Moving along. We're getting off of me. What was next? What were we talking about next?
Okay, I did have a question for you guys. Are you guys familiar with the blue check that's on Twitter and the blue check that you get on Instagram to be verified?
Mm-hmm.
Does your company specialize in helping people to obtain that?
Not necessarily. We don't specialize on individuals. We specialize more in companies. But everything is negotiable, my friend. We know how to make it happen, and if the price is right, we can make it happen.
Enough said.
All right. So at this, actually, I was getting into something, but I'm not going to. All right. I lost my train of thought because they're pointing at me in the window, pointing up numbers, and I was getting ready to get into something, but we don't have like 1 minute, so it's gonna take too long. So on that note, we're gonna go ahead and take our second break, and when we come back, we're gonna have more with our guests talking about social media and your business outcomes on the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
Life comes at us fast. One thing that gives us comfort is knowing that someone is there when you need them. Well, at Pleasant Hills Insurance, that's our promise to our clients. Call 770-910-7460 today or visit our website at pleasanthillsinsurance.com for your free, no obligations quote on retirement and life insurance. Many of the large agencies have turned their back on the retired workforce. At Pleasant Hills Insurance, if others can't qualify you, very often we can. Pleasant Hills Insurance proudly provides options for preconditions. So So call 770-910-7460 or visit PleasantHillsInsurance.com today for your free, no obligations quote on retirement and life insurance. Pleasant Hills Insurance. We're here when you need us.
Ooh, don't we look good together? There's a reason why they watch all night long. Yeah, I know we'll turn the heads forever. So tonight I'm gonna show you all. When I walk with you, I watch the whole room change. Baby, that's what you do. No, my baby, don't play. Blame it on my confidence. Oh, blame it on your measurements. Shut it down on sight. That's right. We out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know. Out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know it. Now slow it down for me, baby. Slow it down, girl. 'Cause I love the way it feels when we cry. Yeah, our connection's so magnetic on the floor. Nothing can stop us tonight. We're now walking with you. I watch the whole room change. Baby, that's what you do. No, my baby, don't play. Blame it on my confidence. Or blame it on your measurements. Shut it down on sight. That's right. We out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know. We out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know it, you know it. Fellas, grab your ladies if your lady fine. Tell her she the one for life. Ladies, grab your fellas and let's do this right. If you're on one like me, mine. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Don't it feel so good to be us? Hey, yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Girl, we got it going on. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Don't it feel so good to be us? Hey, yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. We out here dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here dripping in finesse. You know. Dripping in finesse with my baby. Oh, dripping in finesse. You know it. Girl, you know we got it going on. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Don't it feel so good to be us? Hey, yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. You know it, you know it. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Don't it feel so good to be us? Hey, yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. You know it, you know it. I can say that you're wonderful, but it doesn't seem good enough. I can say that you're kind, but that would miss the mark. I can say that you're beautiful, but to me you are so much more. How do I communicate exactly who you are? I'm trying to convey the sentiment of my heart and say I really do appreciate the way you brighten up my day. I can't find the words to describe you. It would take a million years. It would take a million years to explain the way I feel. You are the epitome. You are the epitome of everything I'll ever need. I'm so in awe of you. Lord, you leave me more time, I would go down the line and name all the things that captivate my heart. But clearly I'm not aware of words that can compare. How do I communicate exactly who you are? I'm trying to convey the sentiments of my heart and say I really do appreciate the way you brighten up my day. Oh, I can't find the words to describe you. It would take a million years. To explain the way I feel. Lord, you are the epitome of everything I'll ever need. I'm so in awe of you. Lord, you leave me speechless. Oh, I traveled every corner of my mind. Yes, I did. And found there's no expression that can define the way you care for me throughout the hands of time. I'm searching for a word to say that you take my breath away. I can't find the words to describe you. If I had 10,000 tongues, it would take a million years to explain the way I feel. Oh, you are the epitome. Yes, you are everything I'll ever need. I'm so in awe of you. Lord, you leave me speechless. Oh, say, Lord, you leave me, speechless. I remember Donald Lawrence said it like this: if I can't say a word, tell me what you gonna do. And I'll just wave my hands and say, oh, yeah. I'm so in awe of you. Lord, you leave me speechless.
Hey everybody, it's Ricardo D. Rice from the Leadership Blend, simplifying your leadership. All right, everybody, we are back on this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice, and my correspondents,
Michelle Richard.
Shemaine Cruz.
special correspondent,
Vigilante.
and our special guest.
Alan Bittiscombe.
Daniel Acosta.
All right, so today we are talking about, we've done the hot topics, we've done the current events, so now we're into social media and how it affects your business outcomes. So when we left, we were kind of grazing the surface, but now we're going to really get into how do you execute a digital campaign, or how do I start actually utilizing social media to better my business outcomes. All right, so we're gonna start here. So you've done your business, you've done your business plan, you've done your marketing plan. Now you're ready to really get out there and really start doing your social media. How do you do that?
All right, so you're hitting the ground running, you're ready to go. So at Quickly Media, we usually go through two different phases. And the phase one is usually our branding phase, and phase two being the marketing and advertising phase. So you obviously want to start in phase one. And the checklist for that would be making sure that you have a good logo, making sure that your website is nice and ready to go, and some things to check on the website. You want to make sure you have an SSL certificate. Make sure you're secure.
Okay, anytime you use a big word, you have to tell us what that means. This
Okay,
is not
so-
our world, so what does that mean?
SSL, well, I'm going to have to look it up because I actually...
Really, Alan, you're fired.
SSL
Daniel?
A SSL certificate is just keeping your website safe. If you're taking payments, if you're loading up customers' information, you don't want a hacker to come in there and,
Right, it just
and take your info.
encrypts your website is what it does.
Right. It's a security guard for your website.
Carry on.
Okay, sorry. So you want to make sure you have your SSL certificate. You want to make sure that your website is mobile responsive,
Oh, yeah.
because everybody nowadays is searching from their phones, and they're most likely going to be viewing your website from your phone. So if you have a website that doesn't load on a mobile device or a tablet or
You
something,
don't have a website.
then yeah, you basically don't have a website, because
Okay, so-
they're gonna leave it as soon as they get there.
Okay, so sites like WordPress, GoDaddy, are those automatically mobile
No,
compatible?
no. They're just platforms that you're free to do whatever you want in.
Mm.
So they're not necessarily going to tell you, all right, you're going to be mobile. No, you got to make sure that your strategy is meant for a mobile device.
Mhm.
This whole laptop situation only happens from 9 to 5, and then the rest of the hours we're on our phones.
Mhm.
And between those hours, we're on our phones. And when we're sleeping, we're on our phones. And
It's
it's
true.
just
Funny
an
'cause it's true.
addiction.
It's
It's
funny
an
'cause it's true.
addiction.
It
So
is.
supply that addiction right, please.
All right, so yeah, so website, SSL, mobile responsive, and then also you want to make sure that you have, I think I said this maybe already, but a nice logo, and basically you just want to make sure that your whole online presence is as crisp and as clean as possible.
And it's uniform.
And it's uniform, right? So being uniform, meaning that you have the same text, the same colors that you're using on your Facebook page, that you're using on your website, that you're using on your business card, that you're the same language that you're using to communicate with people in real life, that you're speaking in that way online as well. And what that's going to do is subconsciously your audience is going to, or viewers or whoever is looking at your page, they're going to be able to trust you more because of all these
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
being consistent on all these different platforms. And once you have all this good, once you've gone through that checklist and you've made sure that all these things are there, then you want to move into phase 2, and that's where you're really going to engage with your audience and really try and show them what exactly it is you're offering.
Okay, so question: how important is a mission statement and a vision statement when you're trying to build a brand?
All right, I'm going to give you the honest truth, what I personally think of that. Everybody says it's great, oh my God, vision, you got to have it. I believe in the doing and the starting. Just get started, get started. You need to go pick up your business. You need to go make some money to pay your bills. Get started. The vision and mission will change, and you will have to adapt to new things. New things will always come your way. I'm a huge believer not in so much of the basics, but in the doing. Get to it.
So
You know?
to start a business, how would you do that?
So for us, we understood that one big gap that we saw in the market was minorities don't have the resources to be online. Nobody's educating minorities on how to do this. So I'm Colombian. I know Alan over here.
I didn't want to ask,
He's
but I
British.
was like,
Alan
yeah,
is British.
Alan's British.
And, I come from a small business owner, mom, single mother that fought her way up to where she's at now. And the way I look at it is if she would have had the knowledge that I have now 10 years ago, she would have been probably a millionaire by now. But, it's that the people are not asking the right questions. That you want to go you want to go and do whatever your neighbor is telling you to do, but you're not searching for answers yourself. So if I could be the one that pioneers that into minority business, at least in Atlanta, hey, let's do it, man. We need help. And we are here to give and stretch that hand out to everybody. And not only minorities, I'm not going to leave anybody behind, but, it's educating the people. If you're educated, you know what you're doing, you can strategize and you can do it better. If you think that just by writing a check and handing it to somebody, you're gonna make it, no.
Yeah, you get screwed all the time because that's what constantly happens.
Right.
Yep. All right, so let's go over that checklist again. So phase 1, they should have a logo.
A logo, yeah, you want to have a logo. You want to make sure that your website is clean and concise and matching
Mhm.
the formats of your social media. Like we talked about before the break, you want to make sure that you're on the correct social medias where your audience is.
Uniform 'em. Uniform 'em.
Yeah, uniform. And you want to make sure that in those pictures, I didn't mention this before, but just in your profile pictures, a simple logo in the profile pictures. Nothing more, nothing too busy. No special offers or anything like that. Just a simple logo.
Mhm.
And then also, let's see, so website, logo, and then clean and concise, and then making sure that you're on the right social medias.
Mhm.
And that would be everything.
And that's when you start to document.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part.
Mm-hmm.
Document. Everybody thinks like, oh my God, what do I post? I don't know what to post. Just post the valuable thing you're doing that day.
Tell a story.
Okay,
Tell us
give us an
story.
example. So that's to have a furniture store. What
You
would
have
I-
a furniture
Yeah,
store.
that's to have a furniture store. So
Okay.
what would I?
So you're
I'm
just
ready.
starting this furniture
I
store?
just started this furniture
Great.
store, and I'm
So
getting
now
ready
you've
to.
done phase one?
Yes, I have done my. I have a logo for it. I
Uh-huh.
have the name.
Mm-hmm.
I have the what's SSL.
Yeah, you got your SSL certificate.
I have my SSL certificate.
You
It's
have
mobile
your-
responsive.
Yes, I looked on my website. I've looked at it on my.
You set
mobile
up your
device.
social media.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So you have your Facebook,
You-
your Instagram. You have your
And
setup in
here's
Google.
another point I want to make. When you're starting a business too, it's good to go ahead online and go look and see if the URL that you want is available. Go look and see if that Facebook page is available. Go look and see if the Instagram is available, because once you create this business, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to get on those social media platforms. And if you get on there and you're like, oh darn, my name is already taken, it could put you at a little
Yeah,
bit of
do
a
your
loss.
research before you go and start a business, please.
Okay, so I've done my research. So I have all these things. And the name of it is Mama's Used Furniture.
Mama's
Mama's Used
Used
Furniture.
Furniture.
So that's
All right.
the name of it. Mama's
So
Used
so
Furniture
it's a
Store.
Monday at Mama's Used Furniture, and you got a client coming in the door, and
All right.
you want to start documenting for social media.
Yeah, so what should I do? I've gotten all
First,
the-
you close that deal.
naturally, I'm not gonna be able to afford to do social media and buy the ads I need to buy. So naturally, all right. So what else?
So first, you start with the basics. You gotta first push out value, right? So if you close the deal with the guy, and the guy said, "Yeah, great furniture," he bought a couch or whatever, took it home. Before he gets out, you're gonna ask him, "Sir, ma'am, is it okay if we post a little picture or a little video of your experience today on my social media, so people like yourself can see what it's like shopping at Mama's Used Furniture?" If you treat him right, if you treat her right, he's gonna say yes. He's gonna say, "Fine, I'll help you out." So all you got to do is take a picture or take a little selfie video explaining, "Hey, I'm over here with Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts just bought a couch. He did zero down payment, $49 a month for 6 months. Thank you so much, Mr. Roberts, for shopping here. What brought you here?" You're gonna ask for his experience. You're gonna ask for what he thinks, and you're gonna show all the good things. Keep in mind, I am documenting. In no time of the video, I went out of my way to say, "So if anybody wants to come out and pick up a couch right now, this is the sale time." No, they don't know you yet. You're starting.
Mm-hmm.
Be a jabber.
So testimonials would be better.
Yeah, and no, again, don't get it confused. I'm not saying testimonials or reviews. Document. If you're having your sign up, if you have a storefront and your sign is going up for the first time because you just started, get out your phone and document the truck putting up that sign. If you're messing around with your coworkers, it's a slow day, but your coworkers are rearranging the store and putting new furniture somewhere else.
Take a few pictures.
Take a pictures of that.
So it's okay. So I've always said that. So it's kind of like documenting the journey to get to where you want to go.
It's not kind of. It's documenting the
So
journey.
I didn't want to say that. My friend said I swear
That's
I
what
think
I
I
mean
write
by
all the
tell a
time, so
story
I didn't
is
want to
document
say
the
that.
journey.
But
Mm-mm.
okay, so all right, so because I have a furniture store, is there one outlet that I should probably spend more time in because of what I do?
Facebook.
I thought you just said Instagram because I have furniture.
No, who buys more furniture? You 30 something or 16 something?
Okay, so this goes back to what we were talking about Friday about imprints and things
Yeah.
like that. All right, so here's the conversation we had on Friday when they were on the show. We were talking about Instagram specifically. And the fact that I don't feel like Instagram having 15,000 followers instantaneously turns into 15,000 buyers.
Oh, no way.
So
No, definitely not.
So how do you feel about Instagram? Like, is it just for show, just for pictures, just for followers, or is it to create fandom?
No, it goes
Uh,
goes back to the basics. And sorry to cut you off, Alan, but Instagram is just where your audience is. What are you doing? What are you doing, and where is your audience? Is Instagram the best platform? Is Facebook your best platform? Is Pinterest your best platform? Mr. Furniture Store, I think Pinterest is your way to go too.
Okay, while we on that, okay, let's explain Pinterest. I don't understand what it is. So explain it because y'all are social media guys. What is Pinterest? What is it?
All right, Pinterest to me is a place where you get ideas from. And they monetize on these ideas by posting ads and actually building links so you can buy from. So you just moved into a new apartment and you're not an interior designer. You suck at picking and choosing what you want to put in your living room. Go into Pinterest and Pinterest will tell you what to put in your living room.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
So it's like, I've never been on it. I've seen it, but I tried it one time. I was like, I don't understand. This makes no sense to me. So I just kind of stopped. But I hear people talking about it.
And it's not for everybody. I'm not on Pinterest personally. I don't care.
But I think it can work for certain businesses because I don't know if it's just me being like a woman and loving Pinterest a little bit more because I think it is a little bit more female centered.
Yeah.
But
Oh, really?
yeah, because you'll
Definitely.
look for things, or it's like you said with interior design, like that's kind of up my alley. I craft, I scrapbook, I'll do all of that. Pinterest, like even if I just look up Google Images, it inevitably leads me back to Pinterest, and I'll say this is cute. I'll click on the picture, and then all you Etsy shop owners out there will
She's
have
the
the
audience.
brilliant idea to put your information in the Pinterest picture, and it'll lead me straight to your Etsy shop. So thank you. I found a lot of cool things there.
So is
Um,
it the service or is it just the idea of with the photo?
They
It is
connect both
the
of them.
idea, right? Because if you're like I'm a creative type and I like to do these things, so I'll say I kind of want like a kind of Mediterranean theme for my bedroom, and I'll be like Mediterranean themes for small bedrooms, and Google will send me a picture, and I'll say this is cute, and inevitably that picture will be on Pinterest, so it'll say go to Pinterest, and then you'll click on it on Pinterest, and Pinterest will take you to that site. And
Bridges
you'll be
the
like,
gap.
Right,
Okay.
and they'll have bedspreads and whatever you want
It's
to.
kind of like what Instagram is doing. You know, Instagram just launched that not too long ago, where you have an influencer wearing a hat, and that hat, let's say, is from Gap. Well, you can in that Instagram of the influencer, you can click on his hat, and it'll take you to Gap.com, and then you can buy that hat there.
Really?
Well, guess what? The
Yes.
influencer is getting money. Gap is
Absolutely.
getting money. It's just a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys gotta get with it, man.
Well, that's why y'all are here. Because I was like, you know what? I have plenty of friends, and we see it all the time on Thursdays who
Yeah.
are trying to do stuff, and
Yeah.
half of them don't have a social media presence, or if they do, it's haphazard. So I was
Right.
like, you know what? Let's get some experts in here. Because that's what we do on this show.
October 21st, we're gonna have a conference, so you guys can understand to the T how to really strategize your social media and how to go acting and going hunting. So
I'll be
we'll
there.
give you more details.
So you brought tickets to this conference for everyone here at the Leadership Blend. Thank you
That's
so much. That is
right.
so amazing of
Absolutely.
you. Thank
That's
you.
Appreciate that.
For the right price. No, I'm just kidding.
Disclaimer here. Let's give the Quickly Media disclaimer now. We already heard Ricardo's earlier.
Only person who should be free is me. It should be me.
So
Oh, what about your interns, Ricardo? You can't leave us out.
I was about to say something really nasty. You could technically, but anyway, I digress.
Oh,
All right,
wow.
so sticking with the example. So, all right, Mama's Used Furniture. We're documenting the storyline about how the sign went up and so on and so forth. All right, so you said Facebook would be my best bet.
Yeah.
How so?
Again, let's analyze. Let's get to the logics. It's logical thinking. Who is most likely to buy furniture? And I'm not talking about everybody and their mama. I'm talking about the 80%.
Mm-hmm.
I want the 80% of the people who are actually into this, right? So if I was to guess, somebody that usually buys furniture from a furniture place is going to be between 30 years old and 45-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Would you guys agree to that?
yeah.
Maybe
It's-
a
Again,
little,
80%.
Maybe a little younger.
Yeah, I would say
80%.
maybe 25. Well, okay, maybe 28.
All right, let's stretch it to 28. That's
28.
fine. But what I want you guys to understand
It's
is
the
that
80%.
we're going for the majority. That's it.
That's true.
I don't
For the
I don't
large
want
margin.
I don't want the 16-year-old that left home and is making millions of dollars online and now he's buying furniture. No, no. I want the regular Joes, right?
Okay.
So, where are these regular Joes? On Facebook. I was talking to a 15-year-old girl the other day, and she was like, I'm not on Facebook. Facebook is like the old people's social media.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's the running theme.
all right,
I get that all
it
the
is what it is, but old people are buying. The 16-year-old is not.
time. This is very true. This is true.
16-year-old is asking the old people for money to buy. So,
Okay, so we would use Facebook in essence to create the buy-in for
mhm.
people to see what we're doing, which is ultimately the goal, correct? For documenting our journey is to get the buy-in,
Right.
so that people feel like they in essence kind of know you, know your business, trust your business.
In a
correct?
couple months down the road, when you get more comfortable with everything else, and start hopping into other social medias,
Yeah.
Okay.
so you don't overwhelm yourself so much, or
And,
just
and
hire.
that's just
Or
goes
the-
back to like finding the majority. So when you went to choose that first social media platform, you chose Facebook because that's where the majority is going to be there. Not to say that nobody else is buying furniture or your audience isn't going to be on other social media platforms. You know, you just got to go for the majority first.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we're going to finish off looking into how using the proper social media outlets can have better business outcomes for you. So stick around on the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
Can't believe that I'm home all alone. Doesn't stop me from wanting to see you. Why the hell won't you pick up the phone? Hello? Don't know which way is up anymore. No excuses and nothing to cling to. Oh, you're shaking me right to the core. Just wanna let you know I won't let this one go. You got me down, but I ain't out. Think you got me good, left me like some dead wood. I may be down, but I'll turn it round. All my friends that I told you so. They ain't making me feel any better, but it's up in his own with the show. Got me aching inside of my skin. No excuses and nothing to cling to. You gon' pay for the state that I'm in. Just wanna let you know I won't let this one go. You got me down, I ain't out. Think you got me good, left me like some dead wood. I may be down, but I'll turn it round. But you gon' see wise of me, and I won't break down easily. Hell no. Just wanna let you know I won't let this one go. You got me down, but I ain't out. Think you got me good, have me like some dead wood. I may be down, but I'll turn it round. Just wanna let you know I won't let this one go. Down, but I think you got me good, left me like some dead wood. Hey, I may be down, but I'll turn it round. Don't you go, don't you go,
Hey everybody, it's Ricardo D. Rice from the Leadership Blend, airing every Monday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. on IBNX Radio Talk. And all right, everybody, welcome to this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host Ricardo D. Rice and my correspondents.
Michelle Richards.
Shemaine Cruz.
my special correspondent,
Vigilante.
and our special guest.
Alan Bittiscombe.
Daniel Acosta.
All right, so we were talking about today's show was in essence about using social media to better your business outcomes. So when we left, we were talking about what was the name of the store? Mama's Used Furniture Store
Yeah.
was our example for today. So we had already did the basics, which the 4 basics were to have the logo, the SSL certification, to make sure our website is mobile friendly, and I'm missing one. There was
Uniform your social media platforms.
Okay, so in your advice, should you use outlets like Hootsuite that can actually coordinate all that stuff? Would you advise that?
Yeah,
I've never used it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, if you have the money, if you want to save some time and you really want to put into effort into social media, Hootsuite is a good platform. I think that, you know, for a small size business or a medium sized business, it can work very well. It'll save you a lot of time, but it's not crucial. It's not like you must have it, you know?
Okay, so we were talking about documenting the journey of your business, which a lot of people don't think they should do. I've always done that, so I've seen the fruits of it because, in essence, the ideology is to create a buy-in, that people feel like they know you, feel like they know your product, feel like they want to be a part of your product's journey. So you kind of do that by, we were talking about Facebook specifically for Mama's Used Furniture, and we decided that the bulk of our clientele would probably be found on Facebook. Let's shift to Vigilante. So for his clientele, would his be more Instagram?
Yeah, he's where he needs to be. Instagram all day.
All day.
Yeah.
I figured that out early because I started doing music during the Facebook time. Then it transferred to Twitter. Then it transferred to Instagram. And kind of the realm of Instagram and Snapchat trying to do whatever Snapchat is trying to do. So
Snapchat's dead.
Is Snapchat even for business?
No.
I thought that was all personal.
it's more personable, but it can't. Nike have a Snapchat page.
Really?
But they have like
They
very
gotta be everywhere.
professional posts. And like he said, the bigger the business, you have to be everywhere. Because if they're not there, people are going to keep requesting for it until it's there. Because there's some people who are exclusive to certain things.
Or there will be another big brand there.
To substitute for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll be missing out on those dollars, which they not gonna care, but it's gonna make a difference in the long run. Kind of like the Toys R Us example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for them. I feel so sorry for them. Okay, so are we in phase 2 yet? Did we hit phase 2?
We were just getting there.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
so 'cause we're on borrowed time now, so we're going to get to phase 2.
All right, yeah. So phase 2. Phase 2 is this. That's the fun part. That's the exciting.
That's
part.
where everybody wants to make money.
That's the money making phase. So I'm losing my mic here. Yeah. So what you want to do in phase 2 is you want to really. That's where you want to start doing advertising, start doing ads, and start kind of spending, I guess, a little bit more money on Facebook, and not just doing content, because you've already been doing the content. You've already given people the value. You've humanized the business to where they see your business as more of a personality or a person, so they're comfortable with spending money with you. And then you want to come in with the ads and really make an offer to have them buy, right? And because they trust you, hopefully now, then they're going to be that much more willing to click on these offers and to do something. And then too, also because your website's good, your social media is good, it's all clean and concise. Any new people that you reach in this phase, they're going to see that you're already a brand and that you're already established and that you look and you seem professional.
Okay, so I guess my question is it about the imprints of just the eyes that come across your page, or is it about building a community of people that trust your product, know your product?
Just
so on and so
building a
forth?
community, you know. And a lot of sales are empowered also by just impulse buying. It happens. But when we talk marketing, you have to talk, again, majority. And the majority is going to buy from you because they know you, because they heard about you, because they've read good reviews. That's where more people are going to start buying. And I want you guys to know something. How people buy things is changed completely. It's changed. Nobody wants to be sold anymore, you know? You don't want to buy things. You want to support somebody.
Right.
You want to support a cause. You want to help out. You want to get something because you really need it. But it's not the buyer consumption that we used to see before. So now, again, I'm going to quote Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a huge marketer, and if you guys don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, I please advise you to look into him. This guy's all over social media, and he says jab, jab, right hook. Jab, jab, right hook means value, 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 and then ask for something. What does that mean? That means that if I have, again, mamas use furniture.
I need you to remember that, Daniel. Mamas use furniture.
Mamas use
it's the example
furniture.
for today. Jeez.
If I run mamas use furniture, the value that mamas
Mamas
use
use
furniture
furniture.
can give out to his audience, it would be, maybe I'm going to teach them how to match this pillow with this couch. Maybe I'm going to teach them how to put up the furniture that I'm going to sell you that maybe is not installed. I'm going to teach you how to install it. Maybe, I'm going to give you ideas on how to decorate your room or how to pay this in 18 months with no interest. That's value. That's you helping them out without asking for something. And because you're doing that on your documentations every day and you're posting all this value, then after you have engagement, after people are listening to you, what I'm doing right now is value. I'm not selling anything. I'm out here at social media. We're live on our channels, and we want people to know how to do this right. You want to unconsciously overwhelm them so they can come out and ask for something. So they can say, oh my God, you're giving me way too much things to do. How about I'll just write you a check?
Help me out.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So again, back to mamas. Mamas is telling you, do this with your room, do this with your room, do this with your room, do this with your room. Mama, I don't know what to do. Let me just buy it from you. Tell me what to pick. Call it a day. You just sold. So that's how you do it in ads. That's how you do it on your social media, and don't even need to be ads. You can have a campaign in email marketing. So
That's a big one.
I'm gonna send you emails every week on how to decorate your room, and then 6 weeks go by of me feeding you things that you should do, and the 7th week I'm gonna say, we got a special and all these things that you've been looking at.
And
Boom.
the timeline for value for each business is different. You know, it's not there's not a set number of you give this amount of information of value, and then you ask you got to find it what works best in your business.
So is this kind of going into the 7, they call it like the 7 touches of marketing, where you got to contact someone, they say at least 7 times before something happens. So you would agree with that? Like you're not overwhelming your potential consumers?
100%. You have to overwhelm your consumer.
Yeah.
You gotta have them curious. You gotta get them to ask, what the hell are you doing? Attention is good.
Yeah.
No matter if it's good or bad. As long as they talking, that's all good.
It's funny that you would say that. We have one of our fellow interns leave. Star, we miss you. And she used to always say that. Like, whether it's good or bad, all attention is,
It's good. That's it.
Well, it's just how you use it.
Yeah, of course.
True.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do we feel about, where does Twitter come in for a business?
I hate it.
It's the one outlet, I hate it too, but apparently businesses still use Twitter. So how does that come into
What
play?
do you think, Alan?
I don't know. For a lot of the businesses that we work with, it's not so much a crucial part. But I think more for larger businesses, it can be a way to connect with customers and to give little snippets of news of things that are going on.
It's like
in
an
marketing.
announcement feed.
Yeah, it's an announcement feed.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But
And used for marketing guerrilla,
yeah,
I've seen.
What?
So, all right, maybe you guys seen the memes. Wendy's is really good at this.
I love Wendy's.
Right?
Have you seen
Yeah,
it? Like their
Wendy's.
Wendy's Twitter page? When
They go to
got-
war. They go
I've
to
seen a couple of them when they
war.
get real
Oh my-
extreme.
They go to war, which
Did
is
you-
good. Look at this. We're talking about Wendy's.
It's hilarious. No, like the one where they had with McDonald's, where they were like, "Oh, McDonald's has a $1 menu. What are you serving up, Wendy's?" And Wendy's was like, "Actual food." I was like, "Shade."
Wendy's got a whole mixtape.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, they got a
But
whole
see,
mixtape.
and do you see the language that they're using and the kind of stuff that they're engaging with on Twitter? They know their audience on Twitter.
Who is it for?
Yeah, they know who they're going after.
Why are they using slang? Who's buying in the dollar menu?
Mm-hmm.
Got 4 for
True.
4, getting us college kids through the week. Thank you, Wendy's. Shout out.
Shout out Wendy's.
I
The
do
best-
love
they got
that
the best
4 for 4.
nuggets.
Thank you. Double stack.
The chief marketing officer of Wendy's. My hat off to you, sir, or ma'am.
All right, so let's segue to LinkedIn. What about LinkedIn?
Are
Like
you?
4A,
Are
4A.
if your radio show, this is a business to business, would you say?
Yes. Yes, especially for moving forward. For
Alright.
advertising, sponsors, yeah.
Then you need to be on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Then you should be putting this show on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, should I do it? Because I have a personal page. Is that good enough?
No.
So you can create a business page on LinkedIn?
Is a business that you're seeking to do business with gonna do business with you or with IBNX Radio?
It'd be the leadership blend.
All right, the leadership plan needs to be in LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're just a face. Put it this way: you're just a salesman at that point and moment in time. Once they liked you, they trusted you. They're now wanting your audience, not you.
Okay, I can get with that. I can buy that.
You understand?
I can buy that. Okay.
So, they first trusted you. They first related to you, and then they were really there because they were seeking what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have is an audience, and they want to be in the audience. So it's a business to business. LinkedIn is your way to go.
Okay.
Then for the entertainment part, we go to Facebook and we go to Instagram. And the entertainment part is where you're going to talk about the current events and what kind of music and the rumors with Beyonce and all that stuff. See, I don't really care for that. But if we talk about this, it's a different platform.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're starting a business and you're going to be the face of your business, then it's okay to create stuff in your name
As
to
yourself.
start it, to show to document the journey.
Right. Like
Once
for
you
his case,
get-
he's an influencer and an artist. He needs to document himself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he does. As you can see, it's all over stuff. He does. It's all over. He does. He's very good at that. I will give him that. But once you get to a certain place, then you split off and start creating stuff for the business. So I was right because I thought with that, and I was like, okay, it's been going long enough. You should start creating the leadership blend stuff. Okay. All right. So we only have 4 minutes left. So give us your final thoughts to all people who are starting businesses and are fighting with this social media thing. So give them your final thought, and then you can give me your information as well.
Sure. Danny, you go first on this one. I'll follow.
All right. Organize yourself online. Mistake number one I see. Please, every business owner that is listening to me right now, go into your social media. Either if it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, organize it. Make sure your addresses are right. Make sure your phone numbers, make sure your logos are the same. Make sure you are all the same. Once that is done, start documenting. Please hire somebody if you're ashamed of yourself. Do it yourself. Whatever it takes, but please start documenting because people are not going to buy if they don't see what you're doing every day. They're not going to buy. They're not going to walk into your store if they don't see a nice light up sign outside or a nice window with your new outfits or whatever it is that you do. So please show off the face of your business every single day if you can. And to finish that, change the way that it's selling. Change the way that people sell, you know. Stop with the discount. Teach them something. Have them trust you. Teach them something. Be valuable to them. Don't be so selfish.
Yeah. So meet your audience where your audience is. Find them where they're at home. And like Danny said, give them value. And then also, I think another key thing to remember in the years coming is to definitely utilize as much video as you can.
Oh my God, I couldn't express it more. If you're not doing video, you got to.
Yeah, video is so important. There should be video on your website, on every social media
Sure.
platform
So
that
you're
you're
saying
on.
not only pictures, but video.
Video,
As well?
definitely video.
No,
why are you
yeah.
looking at me? I put video, so why are you looking at me?
Okay.
So pictures
No.
pictures were huge a year ago, 2 years ago. Now video is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, video.
Mhm.
And if you're not on video, you're not doing anything. Seriously, you got to be
Not
recording.
sideways videos.
Hey, we
I
should.
just want to put that out
Oh man, that's
there. I
shade.
just want to point out.
What do you mean? Like
Because-
vertical?
Vertical.
Nah.
Yeah, Vigilante has a bad habit of he
Oh, my
has
God.
videos on Instagram, but he records it this way. But you know, Instagram only lets you go one
He's
way.
doing it
straight.
right.
Okay.
Sideways?
He's doing it right. I'll be honest. If he's documenting on his stories like this all day, I ain't got time to flip my phone. That's another step that his audience needs to do to pay attention to what he's doing. If he can cut steps out and have him hold the phone like this, vertically, I think he's doing the right thing.
You're fired.
Ah,
I do not want to encourage his poor behavior. Do not want to encourage his poor behavior. All right, give me y'all information. How can they get in touch with y'all?
Yes, so you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube by searching for Quickly Media, and that's Q-U-I-L-K. Oh wait, sorry, I'm spelling this all wrong. Q-U-I-C-K-L-Y. Sorry.
Quickly Media.
Media.
If you're not online,
You don't exist.
boom, boom.
I like that slogan.
I mean, it's cut and dry. It's straight to the point. I mean, how can you not remember that? Like,
Which is real, man. We're just trying to be real. If you're owning a business and you're not online, and you don't, all right. So this is the way I look at it. I ask before I go into doing business with somebody, where do you want to be? If they say to me, I'm good where I'm at, then I'm out of here. Because as simple as that, I'm here to help you grow,
Right.
right? If you tell me, hey, in 5 years I want to have 10 stores, then let's do business.
Mhm.
I'll help you do that. But if you're comfortable to where you are, keep doing your thing. No hate to you.
Yep.
It's just not for me.
final thought.
I appreciate you guys' insight today. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing has been confirmed. We just shot the commercial for the car company, and I'm running that through sponsored posts on my page and on their page, since they made me the face of the Atlanta branch of the company. So everything has been confirmation today. Visuals.
Nice.
Final thoughts, ladies. 30 seconds.
Final thoughts. I enjoyed having all of you on the show today, and I can't wait to go ahead and do my own work with my own social media. Shameen?
And get some Wendy's right.
Yeah, I think it's all about just cleaning up your social media presence. So thanks for offering that insight.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah,
It
thank
was
you
a
for having
pleasure.
us.
Oh, no problem. Shouts out to my special correspondent, Vigilante, and Daniel and Alan for being on the show today and clearing up some misconceptions about business and business outcomes as it pertains to social media. On Friday, we are continuing our conversation with Vigilante and Double R, where we were talking about the new music industry. It was an interesting conversation. It's going to be even more interesting on Friday. So I will see you guys on Friday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. on the Leadership Room with your host, Ricardi Rice. See you in a couple of days.
Thank you.
IBNX Radio.